is June 24th, 2022, and I'm Kimberly from Fat Quarter Shop, and I have an awesome trunk show to show you today. So I've been friends with Doug Leko for years and years and years, and he is a magnificent quilter. And so I have shown you a trunk show before of Tabletastic 2. I wanted to show you there's Tabletastic 1, Tabletastic 2, and Tabletastic 3. And inside of each, there are 20 either table runners or table toppers, and he kind of puts a little picture of it in the beginning, and all of the quilt names are named after cities or counties in England. So today, what I was going to focus on was Tabletastic 3, and when I was thinking about that, I remembered that Doug is the one who developed the simple folded corner rulers, and I just thought we should show them because I noticed in the book at the beginning he does give instructions for that. So I'm sure he'll be watching. If you have any questions, you can put them in the comment box and he will answer them. And we are offering a coupon code today, but only on Tabletastic 3. The coupon will last until Friday, July 1st at midnight. And Doug was really nice and he signed all of the books. So if you are one of the first to order, you'll get a signed copy. We have a limited number, so use the coupon to get a signed copy while the quantities last. And just a reminder, this book has 20 table runners / tabletop designs. And what I'm going to do today is go through, and I have covered up the cutting instructions, but I'm going to kind of show you the layout, and I'm going to show you one of each table runner. One of them I have two to show you, but I wanted to let you know in the book, every table runner shows two color options. Everything in the book is Moda fabrics. Now, some of these are newer fabrics, some are older, and I'll try to tell you the size. We're going to start with Kingston. The size on this one is 18 by 52. Sorry, I said it wrong. 16 by 52. It's Fat 8 friendly, and this fabric is Peppermint Bark by Basic Gray, and again it's all Moda fabrics. And then I'll show you the front and the back. And he does have a lot of star designs in his work, so that's one thing that I love, because star blocks are kind of what I started with when I got into quilting, so I love that. And at the end, I am going to show you my 3 favorite from the book, and then ask you guys to comment what your favorite 3 are. But this one again is Kingston, 16 by 52. And then, oops, I think I skipped one. Okay, I did. Portobello, we're going to actually get to show you both. So on this one, this is 15 by 56. It's layer cake friendly. And then you do have a black accent fabric, which of course you can do any color you want, and then a background. So that's what he did. And this is a mix of Fig Tree, I think this is Fig Tree Favorites, which we do have in stock, or Fresh Fig Favorites, that's what it is. And then, yeah, so this is Fresh Fig Favorites. 15 by 56. And then the other color version is so different. And this is why one thing I love about Doug's books is his designs are all classic. They're all beginner to intermediate. and he gives you 2 different looks for each one. And because of that, it's easy for you to envision what you could do at home, because, you know, some of us like, you know, modern fabric, some like traditional, some like fig tree. So he's always giving us options. And I am going to show you the back on each. And on this one, it's custom quilted. So you can see the quilter here. She put black thread in the black areas, and you can see that here. And in the book, Doug lists in the intro all of the quilters that quilted these, and I think Doug made all of the samples, if I remember right. Now the next one is not a table runner, it's a table topper. And I love to make table toppers because I have a square table in my entryway, which sounds kind of odd, but I love it, and I put a lot of trays on top of it. This is called York Cottage, and he has 2 distinct colorways. This one is 39 inches square, and this one uses yardage. So this one is not pre-cut friendly, it's more just yardage. And since it's a table runner, one thing I wanted you to remember is, even if you get the book and it calls for yardage, I bet you have enough in your stash, because it's small amounts of yardage, because it's just a small quilt. You know, table runners can be done from your stash. So this one, you could make it scrappier and make all of your stars different. There's a lot of movement that you can do with this. And then on the back, you can really see the quilting. It's like a Christmas star with swirls. And this looks like a marble fabric because it's got a little bit, you'll see a little bit of color changes in it. So that one is York Cottage, 39 inches square. And that one I would say is maybe a little bit more intermediate because of the bias right here. So this one maybe advanced. This one might be a little hard. I'm always scared of bias. But this next one, called Mansfield, is amazing because it's for beginners. So anybody could do this. This would be a great one if you're looking to have your kids start a quilt. This one's super easy. It's 17 by 49. It's layer cake friendly. And this fabric he used is Peppermint Bark by Basic Gray. And I mean, this is so simple, and this would be great for just a side table that you're going to decorate with. So just think of, you know, you're going to have like a big centerpiece in your table. This is a great, because you're not going to, if you have a big star and you put a centerpiece on it, you really lose that. So this is great for a table that you're going to put a lot of decorations on, so that your decorations can stand alone. And always think about when you're doing a backing. Do you want your trees to be horizontal, vertical? And because one way would be less yardage, and one way would use more yardage. So you kind of always have to figure that in. And then you can think about it when you're piecing the front, if you want like a directional fabric to go a certain way. So the next one is Balmoral. I couldn't figure out how to say it before we started. Balmoral. This one, he shows a blue and yellow and a Christmas version. And this one is 24 by 60. It is one of the wider, I'm going to show it this way. It's one of the wider table runners in the book. So 24 inches by 60. It's layer cake friendly. And this is buttercream and slate. And you probably, by Yoder. And you probably wouldn't have recognized it as buttercup and slate, because when you look at it, you don't necessarily see the yellow and the grayish brown. He added a thatched, and that adds a whole nother color dimension. And so that makes it really original. And for the background, I believe he used a grunge, But coriander seeds just arrived in the shop, and it's great background, and we have a ton of yardage of it. So if you're looking to make this one, coriander seeds would be great for the background. And then really you could kind of do anything with the accent. You could even do all of the accents different. So that's the front. And on the back, he did use a coriander seeds, he used buttercup and slate. Coriander is the designer, Cori Yoder, and her pattern company is called Coriander. And then you can really see the quilting on this one. So we're just cruising through the book, and the next one is Rin House, and this one I would say, you know, intermediate. He shows two different colorways in here. It's called Rin House. It's a table topper. It's 32 inches square, layer cake friendly, and this one was made with the Slow Stroll by Fancy That House Design fabric. And what I wanted you to see is this also works great for a table that you're going to decorate with, because you could put a big bowl here and really your stars, I mean, they're not stars, but this is going to stand out, I guess, the corners. And this one works great for scraps. So if you're somebody who has collected scraps, you could cut little tiny strips from your scraps, and you could do a quilt like this with all of your scraps. And then the backing is also that same collection, and I'm going to let that sit just so you can kind of see the quilting. It's a little bit harder to see the quilting on this one because the back has a busy print on it. And then this black is a grunge, I believe. Pretty sure it's grunge. And this piece right here is yardage, and that is also from Slow Stroll. So this next one is called Birmingham, and this is one of my favorites from the book. And if you look at it, you can see the pink really pops out in this one. And then the one I'm going to show you that's made out of Christmas stitched, the brown doesn't pop as much. So your color placement has a lot to do with the final look of this one. And I think because the accent fabric here has white in it, that it just doesn't pop as much, which I love. So this is Christmas stitched, and he did do a binding here that is scrappy. And he does tell you what width to cut this so that you can get the same look. Some books would just say scrappy binding, but that would probably drive me crazy because I would want to know exactly what size those are. But this is my favorite out of the whole book, and this background is also from Christmas Stitched. This is layer cake friendly. Of course you need a background and you need a accent fabric, but the rest of it is layer cake friendly with pieced binding, and you could use triangles on a roll, finished size 3 inches for this half square triangle. So this one is definitely on my list of favorites. This is Birmingham. And again, the same thing with this. Consider, just for example, if you're at the quilt shop and you're trying to figure it out, just look, do you want your sampler to be horizontal or vertical? So this is going to go in my pile of favorites. Again, that is called Birmingham. The next table runner is called Northampton. This one is 19 inches by 56 inches. It's fat eighth friendly, and this is an assortment of Minnick and Simpson collections over the years. So you can see the difference in, sometimes they change their reds and blues slightly. And some of their collections have brown and some don't. So it uses a total of 21 fat eighths. And I love the double star. This, you can really see the quilting here. So here, I love the double star. I don't think I've ever pieced a double star, so that might have to go on my list. But again, that's what I love about. And also, I think, Doug, you know, one thing you want to think about designers, what they try to do is they try to have a look, their own individual look, and his stuff is always his own. This one is called Bridgerton. This one is fat eighth friendly. It's 40 inches square, and he used this Christmas stitched collection just like the other one. And I would say this is an advanced quilt. I would not try this at home if you are a beginner, because this is a lot of bias and I would be scared out of my mind to make this. I wanted to just show you how these look together. So you could combine two different, and to decorate your house, for example, you could put this on a long skinny table, but if you want to decorate with the same collection, you could put this on a square table. So you could mix and match to decorate your home, and they look great together. And he did use the same background, which I think using the same background will really tie them together in your home if you're trying to decorate two together. And then he also used that same sampler on the back. And this one, if it's square like this, because this one's 40 inches square, you don't have to worry about what direction it goes because it's square. This one, again, fat eighth friendly, Christmas stitched, and if you wanted to use half square triangle paper, you could use the 4-inch size and the 2.5-inch size. So you could use H400 and H250. Okay, this next one is my second favorite from the whole book. And I actually saw someone on social media has already sewn this table runner using red, white, and blue fabrics. So this one is called Brighton. It's 16 by 48. It's layer cake friendly. The fabric is sun-kissed by Sweetwater. And if you wanted to use triangle paper, you could use our 1-inch by 2-inch triangle paper. Sorry, 1-inch by 2-inch flying geese paper. And I love this one, but I wanted to show you. This is a Christmas collection. And look at how different it looks in patriotic. So I think I might make this because I love it so much. And this fabric right here is American Gatherings by Lisa Bonjean of Primitive Gatherings. And this would look really great with the flag sew along she just had. And it just would look really great because it kind of, you know, matches kind of the idea of the flag that she had in her quilt. But I love this one. And one question that we do get a lot is, and I'm going to look at this just to make sure. One question we do get a lot is, how do you make a quilt bigger? How do you make a table runner bigger? So each of these are units that are the same size. So if you wanted to make this table runner longer, you would just add blocks this way. If you wanted to make it wider, you would have to add 2 units this way to keep it symmetrical. But there's a lot of things you can do, and anytime I'm sewing something from my home, I do measure the table and try to get my table runner to be just a tiny bit smaller than my table. And sometimes what you can do is, if you add a border, you could add a border to a table runner, ask your long arm quilter to not trim it, and then when you get home, you could put your table runner on there and then mark with a friction pin, like where you want to cut it, and then it can become the exact size. So I've done that several times, and you know, it just, you do have to add. Now you have to think about when you're making a quilt, when you sew it, for example, this is 16 by 48. When you quilt it, it is going to shrink slightly, probably a 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, kind of depends on how dense the quilting is. So by adding that border, you can trim it down to get the exact size. And I did that with my fig tree. I did a fig tree pattern that I have on the side of both side tables next to our bed. And that's what I did, is I just made it bigger. And you can see the quilting really good on this one. It's kind of like snow, kind of matches the Sun-Kissed collection. The next table runner is called Cardiff. And when I first saw this, it kind of looks like a bat. So I'm not sure if he meant for it to look like a bat. Maybe not, because he shows it once in Christmas. This is one of the smaller table runners in the book. It's 15 by 43. It's layer cake friendly. The collection is Celestial by Zen Chic. And the back is Spotted by Zen Chic. And that quilting is awesome. I don't even know how you get that quilting. I'm sure that's a pantograph, but that looks like a complicated pantograph. Now looking at this one, if you wanted to make it bigger, you could just make this white inch bigger this way, all the way around. And then of course you'd have to adjust this, or you could add another row. You can turn the, if you added another row, you'd have to add 2, because see, this is like a star. And half rectangles, this is a half rectangle. Half rectangles are the death of me. They're so hard, and I've never really gotten them down, and that's kind of been on my list to really try to master that, because I'm so bad at it. I love making half square triangles, but half rectangles I've never really fully understood how to get them to come out the way I want. So the next one is a table topper. It's called Ivy Cottage. It's 42 inches square. And this one is fat 1/8 friendly. This collection is Yukata by Debbie Maddie. And again, like I said, these are all Moda collections. And so like, this is, if you look at this right here, I'm trying to show you, this is a fourth of a quilt. So you've got 4 really big units. I would say this one would be advanced. I have such a trouble doing the on point, but a tip here is, if you did the on point, if you made the sashing, cut it 1/2 inch bigger, trimmed it down, you don't have to worry about this, because you'll come out with the exact size. So if I was making this, because it's advanced, I would know that this is not going to come out the correct size, because my on point never does. I would add trim down. And these are half square triangles. If you wanted to use triangle paper, you could use H350 for the large ones and H150 for these small ones. And this quilt would look really good scrappy also. And this collection by Debbie Maddie, it has a lot of colors in it, you know, because it's got dark blue, light blue, black, cream, brown, different levels of brown. It kind of comes out looking scrappy. And then this is the backing. It's like a polka dot. And I think this is the quilting that was on the Christmas one earlier. And of course, any questions you guys have, just pop them in the comments. We will, of course, answer any questions you guys have. This next one is also a favorite of mine. It's called Newcastle. It finishes at 16 inches by 50 inches. And then the great thing about this one is you can either use layer cakes or jelly rolls. So, and this is a great one that you could just pick up what you have in your stash because it doesn't use the full stack of layer cakes. You're going to have some left over. And you would just need to pick one background. This right here is Jolly Darlings. And then this is a basic from Ruby Star Society. And I did want to show you one thing with this one in a second. That's really cute. That could just be sitting on the table like that. This one right here, I wanted to show you in the book because I think he had several samples made. Right here, he has sashiko stitching. Or, yeah, I think it's called sashiko. I don't ever know how to say it. But you could add that to add embellishment. You could even do a blanket stitch. That'd be really fun if you do a blanket stitch that faces inside all the way around. That would be a cool accent. Now, I wouldn't do it because I'm too scared of the sewing machine to do that, but that would be a cool accent. The next one is a really great use of a focal fabric. This one is called Lancaster. It's 17 inches by 49 inches. It's layer cake friendly, and it is all basics from Moda. And even this background right here is a batik from Moda. I think I said basics. I meant batiks. So these are just batiks from Moda. But the background, I did want to let you know, the background is also a batik. I have received questions, can you mix a Bella Solid with a batik? Absolutely you can. You can do anything you want. The sky's the limit. This one's just really cool. You could get a totally different look with this. If you just thought of, like if you're somebody who loves fall, there are some beautiful big pumpkin prints you could put in here. You could put a Santa Claus, like a dancing Santa. You could do so many things with this print. And then the back is also a batik. It's really soft. And this one, I think it's custom quilting because this is more of a swirl. And then this is kind of like zigzaggy. So I think this is custom quilting. Yeah, I think they custom quilted within the motifs like a feather, and then here is just stippling all the way around. So that's really a nice way to accent the focal print. And kind of what I meant about the dancing Santas is right here. So that's kind of what I was referring to is there's the different Santas that Moda came out with this year. I think this is Swell Christmas. I can't remember, but I know that it just came out in 2022. So that's just fun. Now this next one. This is so cute, and I totally want to make it, but I would be way too scared to do it. I wanted to show you that if you want to make this, you can either use a 60-degree ruler, or you can make a copy. He gives you permission to make a copy. You just turn off any scaling so it comes out the right size. Sometimes if you just go to a copier and you just hit print, it might come out bigger or smaller, so you just have to have the scaling correct. But if I was going to make it, I would definitely use a 60-degree ruler. I did want to show you one thing because I think you should see it. That's how you piece it. So this is not for the faint of heart, let's just say that, but it is so beautiful. And this is the version that's more modern. Now what I wanted to talk through with this is there's so many things you can do with this. And I love the fabric choices that he did. Okay, again, this is called Queensberry. It's about 24 by 26. The fabrics, you can either use a layer cake or a jelly roll. The fabric is Holly Jolly by Urban Chick. The background is 12119, I believe, -53. But it is definitely a cross weave from Moda. Moda is making a whole new set of colors of cross weave that will be coming out in 2023. So that's something to look forward to. But this is definitely a cross weave, and the cross weave has a slightly different texture. And there's the back. Now, what I wanted to talk about with this one, when I saw this, I thought this would be so awesome. Some people, you decorate with a small Christmas tree. You know, you might have like a small one when you're walking up the stairs, or a small one on a side table, or, you know, I think lately everyone's just decorating with a ton of Christmas trees. So when I saw this, I thought it was a Christmas tree skirt. I don't know why I thought that, but if you wanted to, you could make this and cut a hole. You could just use like a cup or something, and then you'd have to cut down, you know, somewhere. You could cut here. You know, there's anywhere you could cut, and then you just put your little tree in here. Or I guess you could just set your tree on top if it doesn't have really big legs. But for some reason, when I saw this Queensberry, I thought of that. And then I wanted to show it to you with the other one that I had that was the same fabric. The Dancing Santas. Oh, that's why. It's in the book. It's not in person. That's why. Okay, sorry. So he has used the same collection with the Santas, and you could do the same thing, and it looks like he used that same background in here. So what you could do is, you know, you can make two quilts that look totally different, but they would work in decorating the same. And I love that he's used so many collections. Okay, so that was Queensberry. The next one is Waybridge, and I apologize if I'm saying anything wrong. I'm not from England. I'd love to go there sometime. This one is called Waybridge. It's 16 by 48, layer cake friendly. And if you wanted to make these small flying geese, you could use our flying geese paper that finishes at 1 by 2 inches. And this is Kansas Troubles Quilters fabric, and we think it's scraps. And Kansas Troubles fabric, just so you know, if you're ever looking for like a mix of backgrounds to get this scrappy look, Kansas Troubles always has enough backgrounds in the collection to do something like this. Not all collections have a good variety of backgrounds, but I love this one, and this would look so good in red, white, and blue. Same thing. And this right here is, at one time, years and years ago, there was I think it was called Splatter, and it was a Kansas Troubles Quilters Basic. So I think that's what that's from. Or I think it's the same print they had years ago. And this one is custom quilted. So you can see the center. So right here you can see there's a little flower in the center of each star. And then the waves, I guess, you know, the flag waves have stippling. And this is one of my favorites. The next one is called Suri, and there's two quilts. This one is Snow Kissed by Sweetwater, and there was another quilt that I showed you using that. And the one that he sent is Batiks from Moda. It's 15 by 45, layer cake friendly, and this one is a batik background. And it looks like it's just like a small scattered polka dot. And then he used the same backing. So I'm going to show you these together, just to show you how you can mix and match quilts in the book. So if you're somebody who decorates with really bright colors, these two go well together. He's got the same background and the same backing. Different binding though. But it's great that he sent us a lot of batik quilts to look at. Since I don't ever sew with batiks, at least we get to show you some. The next one is called Summerset, and this is a great quilt for beginners. And it's a great quilt to use a focal print. And I used to do a lot of quilts with focal prints. I haven't really recently. This is called Summerset. It comes out 32 inches square, and you need an accent fabric or you need a focal fabric for here, and then you either you can call this a background or a focus fabric, accent fabric. And what he did was a mix of me and my sister designs, or this might be an upcoming me and my sister designs fabric. I love the binding, and I think on this one, if you'll have to think about color placement. So just like in the book, if you have a light center, you'll need a dark accent, but you could reverse that and do a black, navy, brown, red center and a white accent. So there's lots of things you can do, but this is really easy, very beginner. Again, 32 inches square and charm pack friendly. Of course, you would need to add yardage for these two pieces. A lot of these, I would say, on a lot of these, you could probably find scraps and have enough background at home. And this right here is a Zen Chic black fabric to accent the me and my sister fabric. Okay, this next one I also love, and this one is so cool. I want you to just look at it in the book at just this image. It has a wave effect, and it's got that gives you like a total 3D type look. This is called Portsmouth, 16 by 48. Fat quarter friendly. I mean, who doesn't have fat quarters? Especially if you're watching the Fat Quarter Shop channel. I bet you have a lot of fat quarters in your stash. This is the Slow Stroll collection, and it's that same background he used earlier. I'm going to show it to you with the quilt with it. So this fabric really gives two different looks by using, this one uses an even amount of backgrounds and prints. This one uses a stronger amount of prints compared to your background. So that's a way to think about color placement, is picking your design will tell you what you need to do with it. And I love this one. It's one of my favorites. And I would say this is probably intermediate, but you can use the 1 inch by 2 inch flying geese paper and the 2 inch by 4 inch flying geese paper. You can also use H200 and H100 right here. So that's a great way. You could make this and make it come out perfectly by using foundation paper. And if I was making this, that's definitely what I would do. So again, this is Slow Stroll by Fancy That House Designs. And this one looks like an all-over pantograph. So a pantograph, some of you have asked what that is, but that's where a long-arm quilter would put it on their machine and in the computer select like whatever design they want, and it would just do it. It's just like a computer. It just spits it out. I mean, it doesn't really, but I mean, we can just pretend, right? And I do love the quilting on this one, and I like the thread color. This thread color blends really really nice with background fabrics and the darker fabrics. One thing I love is I don't ever want my quilting to outshine my piecing. And that's just personal preference. So I love the thread color because it works well and it doesn't stick out on the background and it doesn't stick out on the dark. Now, if you wanted to use a colored thread, but you don't want it to pop so much, you can always ask your quilter if they can use a thinner thread, because there are some thinner threads you could use in long arm quilting. Now, obviously, I don't know what thread weight that is, but I do know that some threads are thinner and then it would not show up as much. And that one is fat quarter friendly. And the very last one is called Edinburgh. It is 21 by 64. And I wanted to show you that he also made a version in Christmas figs. The one I'm showing you today is Civil War fabrics from Moda. This is fat eighth friendly and charm pack friendly. Now, of course, if you didn't want to do that, I'm sure you could just use fat quarters and you'd have enough, because a fat eighth and a charm pack would work well. And this, you could do so many things with this. Some different things that I'm thinking are, this design can really be modern. You could put like a Zen chic black as your background and pick lighter Zen chics for your X's or plus signs, whichever way. I mean, they're pieced as pluses, but they're put on point to make them look like X's. But you could do a lot with this. And this is just an all over feather print. And here I did want to point out, on the front, you've got a brown, black, blue, and red. So it's actually custom, it's not a pantograph. So when you look on the back, let's see, this is the brown X right here, custom quilted. The black X. This is the blue X. And then this one is the red X, and I love that this is just straight quilting, like straight line quilting. So there's a lot of quilting you can do with this. So just remember, at Fat Quarter Shop, we have all three books, Tabletastic 1, Tabletastic 2, and Tabletastic 3. And we also have both of his rulers, the simple folded corners. And what I think is great about Doug is this is how he pieces his half square triangles, how he pieces his flying geese. So if you want a piece like him, you would do this. If you piece like me, you would do more of the triangle paper or foundation paper. So whatever works best for you is what you should do, because you should always enjoy the art of quilting. If you don't enjoy it, you'll be more likely to not continue with it. I wanted to remind you, the first round of books that go out will have a signed copy. And here is a layout: Kingston, Portobello, York Cottage, Mansfield, Balmoral, Rin House, Birmingham, Northampton, Bridgerton, Brighton, Cardiff, Ivy Cottage, Newcastle, Lancaster, Queensberry, Waybridge, Suri, Summerset, Portsmouth, and Edinburgh. And I want all of you to comment what are your top 3 favorites, but I am going to show you mine. But I did pick more than 3. So I will tell you my favorites and kind of what my plan would be to do them. So I'm going to start with Queensberry. Okay, this is one of my favorites from the book. But I'm going to be honest, I would never make it because it's got too many. I would start screaming if I made this, or I would just get too frustrated. I am not a good enough piecer to be able to do this. So I love this one, but I wouldn't actually piece it because it's just too advanced. And it's also a lot of work for such a little design. Okay, so this is one of my favorites. And this one is Brighton. This is another one of my favorites. Newcastle. This is my absolute favorite. Waybridge. So this is the one I'm most likely to make. So those are my top three. And this one I love because there's so much versatility in this, because you can just make it longer to fit a table. And you could, if I was going to want to make this to fit in a table exactly, I would make it longer. I would cut these strips wider than the table, like about an inch wider, get it back from my quilter and trim it down so it fits the table exactly. So these three, plus this is 4 and 5, because I couldn't just pick 3. Well, I guess I picked 6. That's not really fair. I love this one because I would have never thought to use brown as an accent. I would have probably put red as the accent, and then it would have ruined the quilt because it would have just been too strong. So I love that this one has color placement that I would have not thought of. And this one is called Birmingham. And then I really like this one. And this one is called Mansfield. And the reason I like this one is that it's very easy, and there's a wide variety of quilts in this book. Like the favorites I showed you, the first one is so hard. This is so beginner. I could make this in an hour. And you know, if you're making a gift for somebody for Christmas, maybe you want to give them something that doesn't, you know, maybe you have 5 aunts and uncles and you want to make 5 aunts and uncles a perfect gift for Christmas. This is a great way to do it because it's very easy and it's very doable, and you're more likely to complete it. So that's what I have today, guys, to show you. I'm going to show you the front of the book. I don't think I showed you the back. And just remember, we have a coupon code. And again, each of the Tabletastic books have 20 table runners. So I hope you purchase one of them at Fat Quarter Shop. And I'd love for you to like this video, comment, and definitely subscribe. But don't forget, list your favorite 3 table runners, because I know Doug will be looking at the comments. Thanks, guys.